Welcome to my channel, people. I'm Double Six. This is Money, Cars, Women and Children, where I teach mostly men how to become more deadly and more dangerous, but the advice I give is for everybody. This is part of my series of Black Families Matter, so stay tuned to the flip side where I'm going to tell you part 2 of my next story about family court drama. Stay tuned to the other side. So welcome back. I'm here to tell you about my new series of videos, which is Black Families Matter, and this is part 2 in the segment. As I said, I've been thinking about this segment for a very long time. I've been thinking about whether to put this stuff out there for at least about 2 years now. I've been dealing with and wrestling with how to best document the drama that I've been through. And as I say, when you have success, and this channel is all about, promoting black success, but when you're a success, you also got family drama. Family drama is another aspect of being successful. It's another issue that you have to deal with. It's another string on the guitar that you have to play, and you have to be able to manage and navigate family drama correctly. And as I said, I've got a couple of children, and I had to go through, unfortunately, the family court system to try and get access back to my children when a long-term relationship broke down. So, this is all about being open and honest on this channel and telling people the things that they need to do to help them get through life, get through success too. So once you're successful and you're on that plane, you've got a lot of envy, jealousy, which I've dropped videos on jealousy and envy, but you also got family drama. So I'll give you the gist of it. I was in a relationship for circa 15 years maybe with a woman, right? For the series of these videos, I think it's gonna be about 20 episodes. I'm gonna call this woman Pam. I've been thinking about what to call her, and the name Pam just is easy. So, to protect people's privacy and my family's privacy, I'm gonna call the lady that I was with Pam. That's not her name, but we're gonna call her Pam for the series of these videos. So I was with Pam for 15 years and we had 2 children. We had our first child, a son, in 2011, and we're gonna call him Child 1, right? I'm gonna call him Son 1, Child 1. We'll refer to him in this video. You'll learn when you're dealing with family proceedings how you have to protect people's anonymity and children's anonymity. We're gonna call him Child 1, right? Son 1 or Child 1. We were together for about 10 or 12 years, had our first child, our first son 1, so me and Pam. We split up when our son was 1. When our son was 1, she had some kind of scenario and she left, right? She split and she left and she split up. And when she split up, we split up for about a year. And, as a high value man, we don't let the grass grow under our feet. Met another woman, had another child. That was daughter 1. So had daughter 1. While that pregnancy was going on, things happened, and boy, I had a son with Pam, and I wanted to be in my son's life. Daughter kind of wasn't born yet, kind of just getting born. I wanted to be in my son's life, so Pam and I decided to rekindle the relationship and get back together. So we got back together. We had son 1. About a couple of years passed. We had to navigate the whole relationship of having daughter number 1. Love her to pieces, absolutely love her to pieces, but we had to navigate aligning those 2 families together. That was a difficult task. Maybe I'll do another stream of videos on how I managed to stitch those 2 families together. It was rough, it was hard, but we did it. We then settled down in a kind of routine with son 1 and daughter 1. Growing them up, and about 4 or 5 years between son 1, had another son number 2. Had son number 2. So Pam and I raising our family, got son 1, daughter 1, son number 2, right? After son number 2 is 1 year old, it's like history repeats itself. Pam decides to disillusion the relationship again and bounce. This time instead of the first time she took son number 1, now she's taking son number 1 and son number 2. Now she's taken them both. But this time she's going on with some things now, and the relationship's really breaking down. And the relationship's broken down between her and I for reasons till today I still cannot really explain. But she's now, like many other women, not all, but many. And I'll say many and not all, I'll distinguish it, but many women, the large proportion that when the relationship between the man and the woman breaks down, all the men who are watching this can see it coming, what I'm about to say, withdraw access to the children despite the man. There's just no other way around it. Like, you don't want to see the man, you don't want to see his French toast face, you're not interested, you don't want to see him, you don't want to hear him, you don't want him to phone, you don't want nothing to do with him. And the way that many women see it is that you also should have nothing to do with the children. I can't fathom how it makes sense. Looking into this, like, I'm a scholar into this family thing now, yeah, and looking into it, I can only say it's how a proportion of women decide to manage their emotions. It's the best way that they know how to deal with managing their emotions. Is when something's out of sight, it's out of mind. And when the man is around, when you split up with a man and you've got children with the man, the way that many women can cope is to have nothing to do with that man. It's very difficult for many women who find themselves in that low place to be able to navigate dealing with the man and dealing with the children. So it's more manageable for them to cut the man off. So I'm not even gonna say it's a bad mind part of woman. I'm not gonna say that women don't want you to have nothing to do with the children. But from men, we have to kind of understand the way that women are thinking, and they really can't deal with the man in their face. So when they're trying to lock you off from the children, it's not that they don't want you to be a father to the children, it's just the only way that they can cope. They can't have you in their face, they can't have you around, they can't see you, they can't deal with you, they don't want to see your face. Yeah, you're like the devil to them, and the only way they can cope is just to cut you off out of their life and out of the children's life. But we as men, we can't understand it. We're like, why can't I just see the children? Why can't I just get to the children? I don't want to see you, I don't want nothing to do with you. But you don't. We as men, we can compartmentalize. We're like a waffle, you know, with all the pockets in the waffle. We can compartmentalize life. We can say, okay, we're not dealing with the woman no more, but here we're going to deal with the children's school, buy their school uniform, do all the bits and pieces, pick them up from school, drop them off from school. We can compartmentalize our life. We're logical creatures. But women, and I won't say all, but I've got to just generalize for this topic of conversation, many women don't have that same rudimentary compartmentalization in their mind. So a lot of it is joined up. A lot of it is free flowing like water on one level. So they can't section the children and the man and us and the relationship and chop them all up into individual pieces. So it's much more difficult for them. I've kind of learned that understanding of women, that the series of videos that I'm about to get into with you, it's you've got to understand my thinking, my understanding of women has developed now. So I'm not thinking that that women are wicked and women are evil and women are wicked and don't want you to see their children. No, many women just emotionally don't deal with the breakup of the dissolution of a relationship the same way men can. We can chop it all up into pieces, but women can't really chop it all up into pieces. So with that, I understand women more. I have less. You can't hate what you understand. You got to understand the way women are thinking, the way women are feeling, to be able to understand that they're not taking it out on the children, even though the children are a byproduct. They're victims of this mentality that women have. The children end up being victims of it. The men end up being victims of it. But women have a coping mechanism, and that's the best way that they can cope. So men, if you're watching this video, try to understand your woman as to be thinking like this. She can't cope with seeing or dealing with you if they're in that kind of place. And sometimes the best thing to do is to take a break from the children and take a break from the relationship, because you might help her own mental sanity. And as men, we're thinking, nah, why should I not see my children? Why should my children not see me? My children have a right to have their father in their life. But I'm telling you, yeah, if too much pressure bust pipe, yeah, be careful that you don't break the donkey's back. Yeah, with too much pressure. Sorry to refer to women as donkeys, but just in the scenario, I don't think women are donkeys, but it's just a scenario that we Jamaicans say, don't pressure the donkey back, otherwise the donkey back will break. So you got to understand, take my advice. Women don't deal with situations the same. They cannot not cannot. Many women find it difficult to compartmentalize and structure the breakup and separate the man from the children. Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing. I've been in a relationship like where a woman said to me like, look, I don't want to see your face. I don't want to see you knocking the door. Yeah, I'll rather move away. I'll rather move up to a different part of England than to see you coming and knocking my door every day. Yeah, and I'm like, but right, you got my kids. You understand? Like, I need to see my children, but they can't deal with seeing you, with seeing your face, with your presence. And the only way to do that is to lock you off from the children. So my understanding now is not that women kind of are spiteful towards men, which is what I used to kind of think in the early stages of this. I was like, yeah, these women, they lock you off from their children. Women are spiteful. No, it's about understanding how women think and how men think. And we're different creatures of thinking. And we cannot move the same. We can't navigate the same. So sometimes, yeah, if you're watching this, men, try to take a little step back. Sometimes just think that, she's not coping the same way as we cope, as the brothers cope. You've got to understand this. You've got to give them a little bit of time to adjust to the breakup. I say a little bit of time. It could be a little bit, it could be a medium amount of time, but don't think that not seeing your kids is going to be the end of the earth. It's not going to be the end of the earth. Yeah, if you take steps and you follow the steps that I'm going to put in these series of videos, and you're watching this as a man, just calm the F down. Take a deep breath. Yeah, it's not war between you and the woman, because only the children will suffer. Yeah, sometimes you have to understand your opponent and just give these women a little bit of space to process the breakup, to deal with the breakup. Understand that they may not want you around the children, but that's not because they don't want you around the children. That's because they can't cope with you being in the same scenario and environment as them, and you don't want to break your child's mum, because the children will suffer. Like I said, I'm not making these series of videos to bash women. I'm not. I'm just trying to give men a perspective on how to deal with disillusionment of relationships when children are involved. Yeah. So I'm going to touch on a next video. No, on my next video, I'm going to kind of get into the nitty gritty of my business. Yeah. So watch out for part 3 of Black Families Matter. Catch you on the next one. Easy.